For those who don't know me, I mostly began growing on YouTube as an active content creator for Lost Light. I made beginner guides, new feature showcases, patch note recaps, anything and everything you needed to know about the game, and I also did my very best to cover them all. Admittedly, the game was far from perfect. It had its fair share of issues, and a keyword we'll be using mostly in this video is bullshit. But since YouTube does not allow words like that, we'll just call it BS for now. So despite all of the BS this game had, it became popular enough to gain a following for players who were seeking an arcade-like extraction shooter that had satisfying gunplay, mobile crossplay, and light PC requirements. It wasn't too hard to learn as well, and anyone could get used to it after a week or two. The game gaining popularity was the perfect setup for me as a creator. I had a trending game and a growing player base to build an audience with. What could go wrong, right? And yeah, what the fuck? This is not a scripted part of the video. I did not change any of the languages. This game's language is now mostly in Chinese. I covered this concern before, where specific translation issues, lack of communication of devs towards both creators and players on the global side signified an impending doom for the game. I put on my conspiracy thinking cap, piecing together clues and patterns of patch updates and developer/community manager behavior or lack thereof, and brought myself to the conclusion that Lost Light will become a Chinese exclusive game one day. And I think that day is becoming more and more visible and will be coming sooner than we think. Seeing the signs early, I decided to abandon ship and relocated to newer and better games like Arena Breakout Infinite and Delta Force specifically for operations. It was a struggle for me, as I did jump ship to other games. Most of my audience that I built with Lost Light did not, as my warnings of Lost Light C and exclusivity were mostly ignored, or they just refused to leave Lost Light, having committed so much time and effort for the game, which I completely respect and understand. And with that decision of moving to other games, with no surprise, my viewership dropped. My channel was on the brink of dying out, but I persevered and trusted that the algorithm will be on my side once again. Fast forward to several months later, and here we are, gaining decently good numbers on shorts, some good spikes on long videos, and even double-digit concurrents on live streams, which I owe to everyone who give their time and effort to support me. Without any of you, I am nothing here, so thank you so much. Continuing on, as I may have somehow salvaged my YouTube career, making the decision to main Arena Breakout content, which I do really enjoy a lot, I do have to be also honest that I don't really feel at home with. The people in this game are very different compared to the players I run into Lost Light. Maybe because the audience that ABI attracts are mostly EFT players who are looking for a QOL-rich game compared to the king of extraction shooters. Players I mostly meet or interact with in the game are mostly assholes, or even on video comments, and don't get me started with Reddit. As a side note, if you do ever want to enjoy ABI purely for its gameplay, avoid its subreddit at all costs. But to be fair, I'm not also saying that Lost Light's players are beacons of light. I've met terrible people there too, but not as worse as the players in API. In some rare cases, which always surprises me, I sometimes run into people who are actually kind and act like a real human being. In a way, the gameplay is the only thing saving me from leaving this new home for me as a creator, but also learning that the supposed EFT alternative is straying away from its hardcore shooter mechanics. And these beginnings to take a different direction is heavily influenced by the Chinese community. All of the nightmares I've had with Lost Light just came flashing back. So although ABI has its potential and future planned out, there's just too much BS coming its way, and it's something we shouldn't wait for to come. Switching gears to Delta Force, which I've covered in detail on this video, it's not purely an extraction shooter. Although it has one, it just has one to have one because it's a trending genre. As I have covered in the video that I mentioned, the main draw for Delta Force will always be its battlefield-like game mode called Warfare, and operations will always be in second place. Although yes, the gameplay is refreshing and also familiar, being more arcade-like in gameplay, which resembles Lost Light a lot, but also brings with it all the BS I wanted to avoid from it in the first place. It's just annoying that the operators in its extraction game mode have these like hero-like abilities. I feel like these superhuman power BS doesn't belong in an extraction game. as it's just pure cheese. It was an immediate turn off for me, although I did still play the game for a breath of fresh air in terms of an extraction shooter game. If operations removed the abilities and gameplay was very grounded, I might take this game more seriously. I did try this game out a few times on live streams and on some of my videos, and strangely being its hyped up younger brother of Lost Light, I actually had lower statistics and reception with this game than I do with ABI. This just proves how much I don't know my audience at times or how fucking weird the YouTube algorithm can be, but hey, you can always help me out by liking, commenting, and subscribing on the videos I make. So right now, here we are. I am at the situation where I had a home that I once loved, grew there but saw the invasion and left before it began. So now where I am at a new home where the same shit might happen, and another possible home where it fully embraces the BS that forced me out of the first home in the first place. Did you get all that? I feel like I'm in gaming purgatory right now in terms of what the main game is for the channel. As much as I tell you that extraction shooters are trending, not everyone who makes such games succeed or last very long. A lot of games with great potential died out before I could even check them out. Games like Star Siege Dead Zone, which is now a roguelite shooter, Marauders, which was basically a space Tarkov and is now potentially dead, Hawked, which is a Fortnite clone turned into an extraction game, Level 0 Extraction, where the devs fucked up so much that it died, and so much more already in the video game graveyard. There is still success in this genre though. The ones making these kinds of games just have to figure out the right formula for it to sell well and sustain a solid player base, because let's be honest, the audience for this kind of a genre is very specific. Extraction shooters are meant to be hard. They are meant to be challenging, and not everybody likes to play a game like that. The casual player influence tends to change the game nowadays. That's why we have consistent tutorials in games, info overlays, location indicators, and more features that make an extraction game much easier, but also strays away from its hardcore foundation. We tend to see some extraction games take the safe route as well, sticking to PvE only gameplay like Incursion Red River, Cast, and even some existing games where the players themselves are requesting PvE versions of a purely PvP game. And I think one perfect example of that is single player Tarkov. Success may be earned from the extraction shooter genre, but it's a tricky one to cook and to sell to everyone. I'm not all trapped in hopelessness, as there is one game that I'm eyeing to settle down with in terms of content, and a lot of people are also anticipating this game's release this year, and that game is Arc Raiders. I've made 2 videos about the game and it was just an awesome experience to play. What sucked about it? The fact that I only got to play it for 1 day, as the tech test invite came in late and ended the day after. I received that feeling of hunger for a good game, and you finally get a taste, but the chef suddenly hides the food from the menu. It's that frustrating that I experienced the game that way, which makes me want it more. But I also have my reservations for it due to Embark lacking marketing efforts for the game, no open beta test versions coming anymore, and the next time we get to play Arc Raiders is on its actual release date of October 30. Even with the hype surrounding this game, I am forcing myself to lower my expectations, but still hoping it blows me away. So that could be the new home, the new main game. If not, it's fine. Sometimes it's not where we're going that makes the experience fun. It can also be the journey we take and the people we meet along the way. But drama aside, all I have now is thankfulness. That's what I feel. The fact that I've been searching for a good game to call home has me distracted from all of the blessings I've received for over the past 5 years. I'm very guilty of this, and I'm really sorry. Looking at it now, I have over 6,000 to almost 7,000 subscribers now, which I will never take for granted. This is pretty much the end of this video. Thank you for listening to this somewhat of a creator's diary. I really needed to share this with all of you as I wanted to reconnect with everyone again, or even connect with new people as well. I might do more of these in the future. If you have extra time before I continue the grind, please never forget how I all appreciate you. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope to see you guys in the next video.